As this woman strolled past an abandoned building near her farm, she was struck by a foul odor and eerie noises. Driven by curiosity, she ventured inside and was stunned to find several emaciated horses bound to iron bars. Overwhelmed by the heart-wrenching scene, she quickly took photos of the horses and called for help. Animal control arrived shortly after her call and meticulously rescued the horses. But just before they removed the last horse from the grimy building, something incredible and heartwarming occurred, leaving the woman in tears and everyone else speechless. Stay tuned to find out what happened next, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any new stories. Alina was a 27-year-old woman living on a large farm with her husband George in Oregon, USA. From childhood, Alina had always loved animals and was deeply fascinated by them. Her love for animals began on her parents' farm and with her pet bunny, which she lost when she was still a child. After losing her bunny, Alina promised herself she would care for all types of animals and do everything in her power to prevent their untimely deaths. As a result, she helped her parents and older siblings care for sick and healthy animals on their farm. Her love for animals led her to live on a farm as an adult, keeping her close to the animals. In addition to looking after her young son and husband, Alina ensured the cows, pigs, horses, and other animals on the farm were well cared for. Sometimes when she was alone at home and had nothing to do, Alina would walk around the farm to check on the animals or take the horses for a walk. This was Alina's routine until one day when something happened. That afternoon, as Alina was walking around her farm, she heard strange noises coming from an abandoned building not far from her property. At first, she thought the noises were coming from within the farm, but upon listening closely, she realized they were not. Curious, Alina left her farm and followed the noise, which led her to the abandoned, filthy building. The building had been abandoned for years, and Alina didn't think anyone or anything would be inside such a dirty place. As Alina approached the building, she was hit by a horrendous smell that almost made her vomit. Despite the stench, she continued into the building. The strange noises she had heard from her farm grew louder as she approached, making it impossible for her to turn back. She wanted to be certain that whoever was inside was okay, and if necessary, she would contact the local authorities if things were out of order. Initially, Alina expected to find someone or some people inside the building. She even thought that homeless teenagers might have moved in, causing the strange noises. However, when Alina pushed open the half-open front door and walked inside, she was met with a sight that sent chills down her spine. If anyone had told her she would walk into such a heart-wrenching scene, she would never have believed it. Inside the building, 10 horses had been tied to iron bars and left to starve to death. The horses were completely emaciated, and some had numerous injuries. While some of the horses were mature, most were baby horses. Their condition was so dire that Alina could count their ribs easily. The horses looked so malnourished and weak that some couldn't even stand. It turned out that these horses were part of an illegal animal trade operation, where unscrupulous people mistreated them for profit. Mature horses in good condition were sold for a lot of money, but those that were either still young or not in good condition were left to die in the abandoned building. When Alina saw the horses in that terrible condition, her heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. Without wasting any time, she took pictures of the horses and contacted animal control immediately. Alina could not believe that anyone could be so cruel and heartless as to starve such precious animals, tie them to iron bars, and abandon them to die in that state. Shortly after contacting animal control, she also reached out to local authorities. Within minutes, both parties arrived at the location she had given them. Thankfully, when animal control arrived, they began working immediately. They carefully approached the starved and weak horses and untied them from the iron bars one by one. The animal control team rescued the horses, and Alina stayed there to ensure everything went smoothly. After witnessing the horrific conditions, Alina couldn't just leave. She wanted to make sure the poor horses received adequate care, as some were so emaciated from starving that they could hardly walk. Alina feared they might not survive. In her entire life, she had never seen animals as emaciated as the ones she found in that abandoned building. While waiting for the horses to be removed from the filthy building, something quite shocking happened that made her cry. One of the baby horses, very weak and unable to walk properly, stood up and slowly walked to Alina, hugging her. Shocked by what had just happened, Alina hugged the horse back, expecting it to walk away. But the baby horse wouldn't stop hugging her and giving her gentle kisses. When the horse wouldn't let go, Alina burst into tears, overwhelmed by the gratitude the baby horse showed her. After all the horses were taken out of the building and put in a cage to be transported back to the Animal Control Center for proper care and treatment, Alina went to say goodbye. As she did, some of the horses stood up slowly and came to thank her. They cuddled her, kissed her with their snouts, and neighed loudly. It seemed the horses recognized Alina and understood that she was the angel who had saved them and given them a second chance at life. The horses must have gone through so much horror that they were incredibly relieved and thankful for her rescue. As they said their final goodbyes, Alina couldn't help but shed tears of happiness, knowing they were in safe hands. Walking back home, Alina couldn't stop thinking about how the horses' cries played a crucial role in their rescue. If they hadn't made those noises that she heard from her farm, and if she hadn't investigated, perhaps the horses would have starved to death. A few weeks after the rescue, local news covered their story on TV. When Alina learned that the rescued horses needed new homes and were open for adoption, she was moved to adopt 2 of the baby horses. After adopting them, Alina brought the baby horses to her farm and gave them a new home. She took especially good care of them, showering them with love and nurturing them back to health. Other people in the region who owned farms also adopted some horses after hearing their sad story. Eventually, all 10 horses were adopted and given new homes where they would be properly cared for. Today, all the horses are healthy and thriving on their respective farms. Some have even become parents, and the baby horses have all grown up and matured. It was all thanks to Alina, who found and helped rescue them. Without her curiosity and kind heart, some of the horses would not have had a second chance at life. Alina's discovery and rescue of the horses was no accident. As a devoted animal lover, she finds nothing more heart-wrenching than seeing animals in distress or dire conditions. Not only did Alina play a pivotal role in rescuing the horses, but she also adopted them, providing them with a loving home where they could thrive. What do you think of Alina's action? Let us know in the comments section. I hope you liked this video. Please give it a thumbs up, share with your loved ones. Also subscribe and press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.